It's Ram season, which means it's time to serve with Ram 1500, Ram 3500, and Ram TRX. Hurry in now for great deals on the trucks that are built to serve. Right now during Ram season, get 10% below MSRP on the purchase of a 2023 Ram 1500 Laramie. Not compatible with lease offers or with any other consumer incentive offers. Contact dealer for details. Take retail delivery by 5/31/23.
Welcome to Plugged Into Long Island on 102.3 WBAB, Long Island's only classic rock, and 106.1 BLI, Long Island's #1 for all the hits. Plugged Into Long Island is a half-hour interview program focusing on Long Island area issues. It's heard Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. and is available as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Plugged Into Long Island is produced by the Cox Media Group Long Island Community Affairs team right here at our studios on Long Island. I'm Pete Rizzo, your host for today's episode. Let me introduce our guests from Empowering Artists with Disabilities, Jake Rinaldo. Jake, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you. Jake, let's start with you and your story and how it led to the genesis of EAD.
Well, of course, I have a muscular dystrophy, which is, there's many different forms of it. So the one that I had wasn't affecting me between the ages of, 1 and say 10. At that point, I was still able to, bounce around and as if, there wasn't any disability. There might have been some slight, but we were you tend to overcompensate with it. But as you get older, it gets more depleting on your muscles and you're not able to, pretty much you can't run or you can't climb stairs. And so that became noticeable. But, learning about all of that when I was 14, it kind of gave me, it was a disappointment because I had goals and dreams. I was always playing music. We're third generation. My family has a music store. And that was here on Long Island. It was an icon for 50 years. So growing up in that music store, it allowed me to develop music skills and of all types, even repairing stuff and a lot of people skills and doing trade shows and market. So, I had a lot of background with the music, and the disability kind of inhibited me from achieving bigger goals than I would have liked to. But I kept pushing and and I did learn about different programs over the years of people with disabilities and how the organization of people with disabilities and what they can do, and they're this and that, but they don't really stress of what they can't do. So my organization is all about empowering the artists, showing them what to do, because even if you don't have a disability, even as a regular artist, because that was another thing I did, we did a lot of production. I started doing music back before rap, when it was the freestyle days.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
So, and that's how I got into MIDI, and then I got into rap, and I worked with a bunch of different artists because I'm from the Freeport area. We grew up in that area. And we get to meet people like Chuck D from Public Enemy and all of that. They're from that
Sure.
area. So we worked on some of their productions as well, my cousin and myself. But as far as that's concerned, all the artists needed direction, no matter whether they're disabled or not. So the organizations today don't focus. They will talk about, look at us, we're disabled, but don't look at my disability. Look what I can do. Mm-hmm. And that's all good, but there's stuff that you could make better, and it doesn't necessarily because you have a disability. So we're all about showing, developing, and giving them experience and empowering them onto a world stage, doing all that. End result would be, performing in front of a live audience.
I'd like to, that's a nice segue, Jake, into part of your mission statement, which I'd love to dive into a little bit. In this case, providing artists with customized guidance that'll meet their needs and provide the tools and knowledge that they require to establish themselves as creative artists. Can you give us some examples of the customized guidance that they have access to?
Sure. For one, access is the studio. So we have a just a little spot, our main office, and inside the facility is a recording and production where we bring the artists in and develop them musically and visual as well, because everything today with the internet is geared towards visual. So if you look on the website, eawd.org, and you go to the artist page, you could see the various types of end results that the artists get. When they first come here, they could possibly have a song that's just scratched on a pad, or maybe have some chord progressions with melodies. And here in the facility, we guide them with the arrangements, and it is dealing with original music. We do deal with cover music as well. When we do shows, most of the music, we try to push the original music, but a lot of the, I guess to keep people, more of what they like, because not everybody's going to like that music, or if it's rap or something like that, and it all depends on. So we try to keep a wide variety. We do country, we do rap, we do, just regular classic rock. Mm-hmm. I grew up on Long Island, and BAB was like, I was driving all the time, and that was always the station to go to. So all my friends, so we're around that type of classic 60s, 70s music that we mix in, and the rap as well. And we do try to modify it, and we do try to keep it more up to date. But as far as we do have a little rehearsal spot too. So once the artist has a developed idea of what they're going to do with each song and how they're going to approach it, and and go according to an arrangements, it's something as simple as an arrangement that could inhibit them from really making the songs sound great. Mm-hmm. And that's being all taught here in the facility.
Gotcha. If you're just joining us today on Plugged In Long Island, we're talking with Jake Rinaldo, president of Empowering Artists with Disabilities. Now, Jake, I'm a firm believer in the healing power of music. I've got a close friend who attributes music to helping him through a surgery he wasn't supposed to make it through. And now with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I think it's equally important. How do you preach the power of music to the artists you work with in helping them to overcome their adversity, both physically and spiritually?
Oh, wow. It's you're definitely right on that point, where music is we're considered therapeutic. So one of the artists, his name is Tom, he's on the autistic spectrum. So as far as that mental health is concerned, he doesn't associate, he can't communicate. But if you put a guitar on him and you stand him in front of a mic, it's like there's a connection that happens inside his mind, and he could perform and sing and do things, as if he didn't have the disability limiting. If he was just trying to talk like a simple conversation like this, he wouldn't be able to do a simple conversation like this in the beginning. Now he can. Yeah. Just the therapy alone of putting the guitar, getting him out there, putting him in rehearsal, interacting, a little difficult with his interactions, but he's, as professionals, we know how to handle people like that. Not only with the mental issues, but with the physical issues, because we have another gentleman by the name of Mike, and he has cerebral palsy, and he plays the drums, and he was able to develop skills without using his feet, and he even wrote a book about that. Mm-hmm. So it's that type of accessibility we give to the audience, to give them hope, to mentor them. Otherwise, the people are not understanding what's going on. Even with my, I'm a little bit more fortunate, because I guess I've been out there doing it and I wasn't always in the wheelchair, but you do tend to get a little bit of a complex on yourself, and the organization eliminates that for them. It gives them the confidence they need, and to show that, it's all good. You could do what you have to do and not be held back. And, you know, it's simple things as far as like, even for when you go to places that they don't even have accessibility for the bathroom, or the bathroom could be slippery and all that stuff for people, especially on crutches like Mike, you know. So
absolutely,
it's all of that type of stuff, that it's not only mental, giving them the access to building a career, but it's the physical end of it too, because, you know, even with myself, my physical limitation did inhibit me. I would have been able to, if, you know, jump on a plane, go to California. You know, I was fortunate I did do that, but not to the extent of what I needed to do. You know, when you try to jump on a plane every week, fly here, fly there, you know, even for an able-bodied person that's strong, you're gonna burn out. So it did hold me back, but, you know, you just have to figure out a good way to plan it, organize it, and pace yourself with it. And that's what we teach, you know?
Yeah, I mean, music really is a language unto its own. I did see some videos of Mike online. I was really just blown away by what he does behind a kid. What's the name of his book?
It's called Look Ma No Feet. So yeah, so we developed it. It's a PDF right now. But if you are interested in that book, you could definitely go to the website and you could, you know, sign as a member, or just as a, you know, people that want to get contact info, you leave us a message of if you're interested with the book, Look Ma No Feet, and he'll be happy to, you know, talk to you and maybe send you a copy of it, you know, because Mike's open for that. He's very supportive, and he wants to get out there and teach. And he would have that ability with the proper funding as well, because
sure.
everything takes money.
Yeah. Now, your featured, most recent featured artist, Jessica, is quite a success story. Tell me a little bit about her.
Well, Jessica, she's a manic depressant. She has a little bit of I guess I'm not sure the terminologies behind it, but she was working with one of the producers here in the studio, and he brought to my attention, as well as Nene, that these, you know, well, Nene, I understood with his physical disability, but Jessica, I didn't really understand with her mental disability. And those type of disabilities are a little more complicated than autism, you know, to work with them. You know, I mean, you hear it every day, people committing suicide for whatever reasons. And, you know, a lot of the songs that Jessica relates to considers her being trapped in her mind. And she's trying to just figure out what the best way to deal and cope with it as a mother too, because she's a mother of 2 children.
Sure. Well, it's clearly resonating. She's going to Juilliard, isn't she? Or isn't she affiliated with Juilliard now?
Well, she did, you know, work in some courses and stuff like that. She's a Colombian artist, and so they have, you know, theory background on how to play. In the video on the website, I feature her because that's a really cool instrument. She's playing, I think they call that the quattro. It's not quite a banjo uke or you know, uke. It's I guess it's a banjo uke, but in the Colombian world of that whole ethnic sound, they call it the quattro. And she wrote that whole song on the quattro.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of from her background of studying, you know, with people at Juilliard and stuff like that. She's, you know, with the same thing with her, though, the disability holds her back. You know?
Yeah, of course. I'm Pete Rizzo. You're plugged in Long Island on 102.3 WBAB and 106.1 BLI. Today I'm speaking with Empowering Artists with Disabilities President Jake Rinaldo. Now, Jake, you have an event coming up early next month, I guess sort of an EAWD artist showcase, if you will. Can you give our listeners the where and when of that?
Sure. So, you know, of course, we've been getting a lot of lovely sponsors. Huntington Arts Council is a big sponsor of Empowering Artists with Disabilities. And so they offered us a grant. So we went and we applied and we received the grant. We got their grant this year. And the grant was all based on an EAD showcase event for empowering artists with disabilities. And we're now in our second year of the organization, and we've developed various types of acts, musicians, I should say, which have different various types of disabilities. One gentleman is hearing impaired. He plays the keyboards. You know about Mike, Tom, and then there's another gentleman, Rich.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. How deep does your relationship run with the Huntington Arts Council?
Well, that's the thing, you know, what the main thing of what I'm trying to say is that they are like really excited about what we're doing, you know, because there's nothing like this out there, and they're really excited, and they said, you know, just get this grant, do what you got to do. You know, of course, I wanted to take that grant money and make sure that it really built the organization, because it really is our very first grant. So they're so big and huge to sponsor us right now and get us out there, which we're going to be posting this through Strong Island Entertainment. So it's at Paradise Studios on June 3rd at 8:00 it starts, and we're going to be live streamed in front of a big live audience. Hopefully it'll be packed there. We did a show last year for the Long Island Arts Council in Freeport, and we just got started. We were not even a year old, and just the social media was huge, and I must have had about 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
So this place holds about 40 people. So I'm hoping that it would be a success, but they're huge and they're sponsoring everything that we're doing 100%. And, you know, and it's a perfect place for them to get exposure as well, because the Huntington Arts Council, they're not exposed enough to how well they help artists, you know, of all types.
Right.
But they really took liking to the disabled artists. You know, they really like it. And it's a great networking too. I met this girl, this lady, Allie, and she does abstract art, and she creates puzzles with this stuff. And it's just unbelievable. And it's great for relaxing. It's great for anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, I hate the word disability, you know, to use that word, but unfortunately we're 501c nonprofit. And so there's, I guess, a standard of what makes you eligible to be a nonprofit. But the disability thing is not about, you know, what the organization is about. It's more of a community effort, bringing everybody together, no matter what they're doing, whether it be music, art, acting. We also teach film in here. We do, you know, all the stuff online on the website. We did all of those videos. We shot them at different locations. So we could teach video editing. We have various programs depending on their disability. Like Glenn, he's deaf. So we had to go about doing things differently than showing him. We would create MIDI charts for him so he could visually follow it along with the, you know, with the band as the band is performing. He's pretty good though, as far as like reading lips and watching, you know, just watching the artist to relate. It's amazing. It's amazing. I can't believe, I mean, imagine having like a bunch of cotton shoved in your ear.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he has to hear. So he doesn't get the lovely feeling of sound the way we do.
Right. But he's finding a way to make it work, though. I think that's really impressive. You mentioned earlier, Jake, an event coming up in Freeport later this summer. Can you give our listeners details on that one? It's on the Nautical Mile, isn't it?
Yes. So that's another one from the Long Island Freeport, you know, Arts Council. And that would be August 3rd. And that's at 7 p.m. And we'll give away T-shirts, and it'll be nice. And it's right on the water. And people can make a great night of it too, because that's kind of where I grew up in Freeport over there. So it's my old stomping ground, and it's just a great vibe down there. You know, the restaurants, all the clubs, and
It really
Empowering
is.
Artists
Yeah.
With
It's a wonderful area. It's really fun to hang out there.
Yeah, and then if you're tired of you jump on a boat and go fishing.
Exactly. If you're just tuning in, today I'm speaking with Jake Rinaldo, president of Empowering Artists with Disabilities here on Plugged Into Long Island. Jake, can you give our listeners sort of a bird's eye view of the atmosphere at an EAW event for those who haven't attended any of your events before?
Sure. So basically, we feature different artists, and one of them, Rich, he's really good. He has this real blues type of sound, and he'll do his segment of a blues genre, which is his own original style of blues that he does, and his own style of playing. So when you come to a concert, you're going to see a lot of uniqueness, a lot of originality, even if it's cover songs, because we try to keep everybody's focus on the originality. As far as like guys like Nene, he'll do performances in the wheelchair, and he's shocking to watch. His performances are unique. I mean, you're going to see stuff that you would not see at regular shows, as far as people and coping with being different, so to speak.
Right. How did the pandemic affect your day-to-day goals, Jake? And what does the new normal look like for EAWD and what you're hoping to accomplish going forward?
Well, the pandemic kind of triggered this, because I've been pondering to do this for a while, and it's a nonprofit organization, and you definitely need to put your time and effort into it, and nobody's getting paid. So it was just something that I've been pondering over the years. When the pandemic hit, I just, it was all about with my brother and Rich and stuff like that, we were trying to form ideas of music just to keep from going insane. So it developed into a whole bunch of original music. And then as the pandemic started getting lighter and lighter, we started incorporating other people. And I've known Mike, the drummer with cerebral palsy, for a while. So I was like, this would be a cool project if you would just work with my brother and do all of this stuff. And and then it built where I reached out to this other guy, Glenn, who is hearing impaired, and another gentleman, Brian, who is like the musical director for everything we do. And they just started formulating this, right here on the facility for fun, but then, of course they get the itch and they want to go out and they want us to do gigs. And I'm like, guys, come on, man. We're in our 50s now, I mean, you're turning tired of playing for 3 or 4, maybe 10 people in the bar, and they happen to be friends. So I was like, this is crazy, I mean, it really sounded good. So I was like, the best thing for me to do is just start the nonprofit and put it out there. And it's been getting overwhelming attention. People really are attracted to it, and they really want to help. And the Huntington Arts Council is just a major part of, the beginning of where we're going to be with all of this.
It sounds like it. The response has been marvelous. Jake, in closing, how can people reach you both in person and on social media?
Sure. Well, you could definitely go to eawd.org, and you could contact me through that website. And then there is also links to the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel. And we do have other type of links, of course, you got Twitter and the Instagram. But basically, the Facebook and everything is chained to all of that. So if you went onto the website and you click the link to the Facebook, it will take you to mostly any of the links.
And I can personally vouch for the YouTube page. There's some great stuff on there. Empowering Artists with Disabilities President Jake Rinaldo. Thanks again for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much. It was nice to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. This has been Plugged Into Long Island on 102.3 WBAB, Long Island's only classic rock, and 106.1 BLI, Long Island's #1 for all the hits. Plugged Into Long Island is a half-hour interview program focusing on Long Island area issues. It airs on Sunday mornings at 6 and 6:30 and is available as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Plugged Into Long Island is produced by the Cox Media Group Long Island Community Affairs team right here at our studios on Long Island.
It's Ram season. which means it's time to serve with Ram 1500, Ram 3500, and Ram TRX. Hurry in now for great deals on the trucks that are built to serve. Right now during Ram season, get 10% below MSRP on the purchase of a 2023 Ram 1500 Laramie. Not compatible with lease offers or with any other consumer incentive offers. Contact dealer for details. Take retail delivery by 5/31/23.